Dr. Amanda Mitchell hunched over her console, her eyes fixed on the strange pattern dancing across her screen. The Deep Space Research Station Artemis had picked up these encrypted transmissions 3 days ago, and something about them made her skin crawl. After 15 years of studying predator-prey communications in Earth's ecosystems, she developed an almost instinctive feel for hunting patterns. "Run it again, Area," she commanded the station's AI. "Focus on the frequency shifts in the beta range." The holographic display shifted, rendering the alien communications in 3-dimensional space. The patterns moved like a pack of wolves coordinating a hunt, each signal weaving through space in a hauntingly familiar dance of predation. "Dr. Mitchell," Aria's voice was calm but urgent, "I've completed the behavioral analysis. These communications show a 92% match with historical records of pack hunting patterns from Earth's apex predators." Amanda's coffee cup slipped from her hand, shattering on the station's metal floor. "Show me the comparison." The display split, one side showing the alien transmission patterns, the other displaying recording of wolf pack hunting formations. The similarity was undeniable. "They're not just ships passing through our system," she whispered. "They're hunting parties." She quickly pulled up the first translated fragments of the alien transmissions. The Zaxkrill, as they called themselves, had dismissed humans as soft, tool-dependent creatures. Their messages spoke of easy prey and worthy hunting grounds. Amanda almost laughed at the irony. These aliens, for all their natural weapons and prideful superiority, had no idea they were dealing with Earth's ultimate apex predator. She opened a priority channel to Earth Defense Command. "This is Dr. Amanda Mitchell, Authorization Sierra 7 Delta. I need to speak with Admiral Hayes immediately." The response came back almost instantly. "Doctor, the Admiral is in a meeting about the alien vessels." "Tell him I know what they are," she cut in. "And more importantly, I know how they think. We're not dealing with simple invaders. We're dealing with predators who've never learned to fear their prey." While waiting for a response, she pulled up her research files. Years of studying how Earth's predators communicated during hunts, how they coordinated their attacks, and how they responded to resistance. The Zaxkrill's patterns were nearly identical to ancient pack hunters, but with one crucial weakness. They'd never evolved to deal with prey that could outthink them. Admiral Hayes' weathered face appeared on her screen. "Dr. Mitchell, I'm told you have insight into our visitors." "Admiral, these aliens are pack hunters, operating on instinct and traditional hunting patterns. They think we're prey because we don't have natural weapons like they do. But they've made a critical mistake." She transmitted her analysis. "They're following the same tactical patterns as Earth's ancient apex predators. The same predators that humanity not only survived but studied and ultimately surpassed. We don't just know their playbook, Admiral. We wrote the advanced version of it." The Admiral's expression remained stern, but his eyes showed interest. "Explain." "Every pattern in their communications, every formation in their fleet movements. They're using strategies that Earth's predators perfected millions of years ago. Strategies that humanity has spent its entire history learning to counter and improve upon. They think they're the hunters, but they're about to face a species that turned hunting into a science." She watched as understanding dawned in the Admiral's eyes. "You're saying we can predict their tactics?" "Better than that," Amanda smiled. "I'm saying we can show them what real apex predators look like. Humanity didn't just survive Earth's great hunters, Admiral. We studied them, learned from them, and eventually surpassed them. The Zaxkrill are about to learn why." The Admiral nodded slowly. "Send me everything you have. I'll convene the Joint Chiefs in an hour." As the communication ended, Amanda turned back to her display. The alien hunting patterns continued their dance across the screen, beautiful and deadly, but predictable. Soon, They would learn what it meant to hunt the species that had outhought every predator Earth had ever produced. The real hunt was about to begin. Station Chief Jack Reynolds stood in the control room of Neptune Mining Station Delta, his battle-scared hands steady as he made the final adjustments to the mining lasers. 15 years as a Marine had taught him to trust his gut. And right now, his instincts were screaming that the approaching Zaxxcryl vessels weren't here for diplomatic relations. All personnel, battle stations, he announced over the station's comm system. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. The mining station's crew of 300 moved with practiced precision. They'd been drilling for this moment ever since Dr. Mitchell's warning reached them a week ago. Every mining laser had been recalibrated, every maintenance bot reprogrammed, and every industrial airlock rigged for combat. Chief Sarah Rodriguez, his head of security, called from her station. 3 Zaxxcryl ships just dropped out of FTL. They're moving in a classic pincer formation. Jack allowed himself a grim smile, just like the doctor said they would. Predictable as earth wolves going after a wounded deer. He keyed the command channel. All units, remember your training. Let them get nice and close before we spring our little surprise. The Zaxxcryl ships were beautiful in a predatory way, their hull designs reminiscent of Earth's great white sharks. They moved through space with the confidence of apex hunters who'd never known defeat. They're broadcasting, Rodriguez reported. Audio only. Let's hear it. A harsh, clicking voice filled the control room. Attention prey species. This station has been chosen for the honor of the hunt. Surrender now, and we will ensure your deaths are swift and worthy of song. Jack took a deep breath, then hit the response button. This is Station Chief Jack Reynolds. We've got a different song in mind. He nodded to Rodriguez. Now, the first phase of their defense sprang to life. Hundreds of mining drones, usually used for asteroid excavation, swarmed from their hangars. Each one had been reprogrammed with attack patterns based on Earth's most aggressive insect species, wasps, hornets, and fire ants. The Zaxxcryl ships hesitated, clearly confused by the tiny machines that seemed more annoying than threatening. That hesitation was all the time the drones needed to attach themselves to the ship's hulls. Phase 2, Jack ordered. The mining lasers, designed to cut through asteroid rock, fired in perfect synchronization. But instead of hitting the ships directly, they struck the drones. Each drone, packed with reactive mining compounds, exploded on impact, tearing into the alien vessel's armor. The Zaxxcryl response was immediate and predictable, just as Dr. Mitchell had said it would be. The 3 ships broke formation, each one reacting like a startled predator, exposing their flanks in the process. Phase 3, Jack commanded, his voice steady. Show them how Earth predators hunt. The station's maintenance airlocks burst open, launching clouds of modified mining charges. The explosives moved through space like schools of piranhas, guided by the station's AI using hunting algorithms based on Earth's pack predators. The lead Zaxxcryl ship managed to fire once before the charges ripped through its engine section. The other 2 tried to retreat, but Jack's crew had been ready for that too. The remaining mining drones herded them right into the path of the station's main processing laser. In less than 10 minutes, it was over. 2 Zaxxcryl ships floated dead in space, while the third limped away, trailing debris and atmosphere. Send the message, Jack ordered. Rodriguez nodded, broadcasting on all frequencies. Attention hunters. The prey just bit back. Consider this a warning. Humans aren't just another species for your trophy wall. We're the ones who studied Earth's apex predators, learned their methods, and improved upon them. Come back if you want, but remember, everything that hunts can also be hunted. As the message finished transmitting, Jack looked out at the debris field that had once been the pride of the Zack Skrill hunting fleet. "Get me a channel to Earth Defense Command," he said quietly. "They need to know." The first battle went just like Dr. Mitchell predicted. These aliens hunt like Earth's ancient predators, but they never learned the most important lesson about predation. "What's that, Chief?" Rodriguez asked. "The true apex predator isn't the one with the sharpest claws," Jack replied. "It's the one that never stops learning, never stops adapting, and never, ever underestimates its prey." High Hunter Kizak's mandibles clicked in frustration as he reviewed the footage from the Neptune station defeat. 3 of his best hunting ships, destroyed by mining equipment and primitive tactics. The shame of it burned in his 4 hearts. "The fleet is ready, High Hunter," his second-in-command reported. 20 warpacks, all eager to restore our honor. Kizak rose to his full height, towering over the command deck. "The Mars colonies will serve as an example. We will show these soft creatures what true apex predators can do." On the red planet below, Colonel Rebecca Winters watched the Zack Skrill fleet appear in high orbit. Their formation was beautiful, reminding her of documentary footage showing great white sharks circling their prey. "Just like Mom's research predicted," she muttered, thinking of Dr. Mitchell's latest analysis. She keyed her command channel. "All units, execute Operation Savannah." Across the Martian surface, hidden defense platforms powered up. But they didn't fire. Not yet. Like lions in the grass, they waited. The first wave of Zack Skrill ships descended through the thin Martian atmosphere, their formation perfect, their confidence supreme. They never noticed the subtle shimmer of heat distortion around them. "They're in the kill box," Lieutenant Park reported. "Environmental controls are ready." Rebecca allowed herself a small smile. "Show them why humans are the ultimate ambush predators." The defensive platforms activated, but not with weapons. Instead, they generated focused atmospheric pressure waves, creating artificial wind shear. The Zack Skrill ships, designed for the vacuum of space or stable atmospheric conditions, suddenly found themselves buffeted by forces they weren't prepared for. "Just like a cheetah," Rebecca said. "All that power and speed means nothing if you can't keep your footing." 3 ships crashed before they could compensate. The others broke formation, their perfect hunting pattern dissolving into chaos. That's when the real attack began. Ground-based rail guns, hidden in the Martian canyons, opened fire. Their targeting systems used algorithms based on how snow leopards predicted the movement of mountain goats, leading their shots with uncanny accuracy. "Second wave incoming," Park announced. "They're adapting to the wind pattern." "Of course they are," Rebecca nodded. "Predators always adapt. But so do we." Execute Phase 2. The remaining defense platforms changed their output, creating a different kind of disruption. Instead of wind shear, they generated electromagnetic pulses modulated to match the frequency of a tiger's roar, scaled up to ship size. The effect on the Zack Skrill was immediate. Their ship's sensors, designed to be as sensitive as natural predatory organs, were overwhelmed by the primal signal. Combat formations broke apart, as individual captains reacted on instinct rather than training. "They're running on pure predator instinct now," Rebecca observed. "Time to spring the trap. Release the drones." Thousands of small, agile drones launched from hidden silos. Unlike the mining drones at Neptune Station, these were purpose-built for combat. They moved in swarm patterns based on African wild dogs, the most successful pack hunters on Earth. High Hunter Kizak watched in horror as his perfect battle plan disintegrated. His ships, the pride of the hunting fleets, were being picked apart by prey that fought like apex predators. He realized too late. The final phase of the defense activated. Orbital mirrors, positioned months ago, reflected the harsh Martian sunlight directly into the Zack Skrill ship's sensor arrays. Like lions using the sun to blind their prey, The human defenders had turned nature itself into a weapon. When it was over, 17 of the 20 war packs had been destroyed or forced to retreat. The Mars colony stood untouched, their defenders already analyzing the battle data for future improvements. Colonel Winters composed her report to Earth Command with a single line. The Zaxkrill fight like Earth's ancient apex predators, but they failed to realize something crucial. We didn't just study those predators. We surpassed them. Lieutenant James Cooper stared at the holographic display aboard the U.S. Persistence, watching the faint energy trail of a Zaxkrill warship disappearing into the asteroid belt. Most commanders would have lost the trail, but Cooper's team wasn't like most commands. "Hunter, give me an analysis." He spoke to the ship's advanced AI. "Pattern match against historical database." The AI's response was immediate, its voice modeled after an Australian Aboriginal elder who had taught Cooper tracking. Energy signature matches wounded prey behavior. They're hoping to hide and recover, just like a injured wolf seeking dense forest cover. Cooper nodded. "Exactly what I was thinking. Bring up the Tribal Hunter archives." A holographic display shifted, showing ancient cave paintings alongside modern tracking data. Humanity's oldest hunting technique, persistence hunting, adapted for the space age. "All hands," Cooper announced. "This is a persistence run. Everyone remember your training. We're going to show these aliens how Earth's first hunters did it." The U.S. Persistence was unlike any other ship in the fleet. Its crew was handpicked from indigenous communities around Earth, people whose ancestors had perfected the art of following prey until it could no longer run. They're using the asteroid field to mask their radiation signature, Lieutenant Sarah Runningdeer reported from the tracking station. "Classic prey behavior, trying to break the trail." Cooper smiled. "Just like a deer using a stream to hide its scent." "But what did our ancestors do then, Sarah?" "They didn't follow the tracks," she replied, her fingers dancing across the controls. "They followed the story of the land." "Hunter, display asteroid field disruption patterns." The AI complied, showing subtle disturbances in the asteroid belt's natural movement. The Zaxkrill ship had left no direct trail, but their passage had changed the dance of the space rocks ever so slightly. "There," Cooper pointed. "They're heading for that dense cluster. Perfect place for wounded prey to hide." But that's not going to save them. For 3 days, the Persistence followed. They never pushed too hard, never rushed. Like their ancestors on Earth's sun-baked savannas, they simply kept going, relentless as gravity itself. The Zaxkrill tried every trick they knew. They used solar flares to mask their signature, tried doubling back through their own wake, even attempted to lead the humans into natural hazards. But each time, the combination of ancient hunting wisdom and advanced AI found their trail again. On the 4th day, Hunter detected a significant change. Energy readings show signs of extreme crew fatigue. The AI reported. "Their movements are becoming erratic." Cooper recognized the pattern. Just like on Earth, the prey runs until it can't run anymore. They've been at full alert for 4 days, burning through their crew's endurance. Time to move in for the kill. The Persistence emerged from behind a small planetoid, finally revealing itself to its quarry. The Zaxkrill ship, its crew exhausted beyond their limits, could barely mount a defense. "Open a channel," Cooper ordered. When the connection was established, he spoke in the formal tones of a hunter addressing worthy prey. "You fought well, but the hunt is over. You can surrender now, or we can end this the traditional way." The Zaxkrill commander's voice was ragged with fatigue. How did you track us for so long? No predator has such endurance." "That's where you're wrong," Cooper replied. "Humans became Earth's apex predators not through strength or speed, but through persistence. We learned to follow our prey until they had nothing left. Our bodies evolved for it, our minds mastered it, and now our ships continue that tradition." The surrender, when it came, was almost anticlimactic. As Cooper watched the Zach Skrill crew being taken aboard, he recorded a message for Earth Command. Persistence hunting successful. The aliens may be natural predators, but they never learned the most important lesson of the hunt. It's not the swift or the strong who survive. It's those who never, ever stop. Major Emma Sullivan stood in the sound laboratory of the U.S. Nightshade, surrounded by walls of audio equipment. Preserved animal calls from Earth's greatest predators played through the speakers. A lion's roar here, a wolf's howl there, the bone-shaking growl of a grizzly bear. Adjust the frequency of the tiger's roar by 0.3, she instructed the audio team. Match it to the resonant frequency we found in the captured Zach Skrill ship's hull. Dr. Thomas Reed, their xenobiologist, studied the waveform analysis. Fascinating. Their ship design actually amplifies these frequencies. It's almost like their vessels are extensions of their natural hunting instincts, which makes them vulnerable, Emma said, a predatory smile playing across her face. They built their ships to be perfect hunting machines, but they never considered what it means to be prey. The Nightshade was something new in human space combat, a psychological warfare vessel. Its hull was covered in experimental acoustic projectors, and its computer banks were filled with recordings of Earth's most terrifying natural sounds. Battle Group detecting 5 Zach Skrill heavy cruisers entering the system. Lieutenant Ryan Martinez reported from the bridge. They're moving in standard hunt formation. Emma nodded. Perfect. Let's show them what fear feels like. Begin Operation Primal Echo. The Nightshade speakers powered up, broadcasting a carefully crafted symphony of terror into space. The modified predator calls resonated through the vacuum, carried by electromagnetic waves that the Zach Skrill ships were designed to detect. First layer is live, Dr. Reed reported. Wolf pack hunting calls, modified to match their neural patterns. The effect was immediate. The Zach Skrill formation wavered, their ship's movements becoming slightly erratic. These weren't just sounds to them. They were primal signals that touched something deep in their evolutionary memory. Second layer, Emma commanded. Time for the big cats. The modified roars of lions and tigers joined the mix, their frequencies tuned to create sympathetic vibrations in the aliens' hull plating. The sound would travel through their entire ship, making it feel like their vessel itself was growling at them. Their formation is breaking down, Martins reported with a note of amazement. They're starting to cluster defensively, just like prey animals. Emma watched the tactical display with satisfaction. They've never been on this side of the hunt before. Add the final layer, the bear's challenge. The deep, primal roar of a grizzly bear, scaled up and modified to ship size, thundered through space. It was the sound of a territory holder, a supreme predator warning others away from its domain. The Zach Skrill response was almost panic. Ships that had never known fear began to break formation, their crew's instincts overriding their training. Now, Emma ordered, signal the strike teams. From the debris field around them, human strike craft emerged like sharks from dark water. They moved with deadly grace, their attacks coordinated with the psychological assault. Each strike was timed to coincide with the most terrifying peaks of the sound pattern. We're not just attacking their ships, Emma explained to her crew as they watched the battle unfold. We're attacking their identity as apex predators. Every sound reminds them that they're not the most dangerous hunters nature ever produced. The battle ended in less than an hour. 3 Zach Skrill ships destroyed, 2 retreating in disarray. But the real victory wasn't in the ships they'd destroyed. It was in the message they'd sent. Send the final signal, Emma commanded. The Nightshade broadcasted one last sound. The quiet, almost gentle recording of human laughter, overlaid with the dying echoes of Earth's great predators. Let them take that back to their fleet, she said. Let them wonder what kind of species masters both the terror of the hunt and the confidence to laugh in its face. We're not just another prey species that learned to fight back. We're the ones who studied every predator Earth ever made, then chose to become something more. Commander Varrock's restraints were unnecessary. His pride had been shackled more effectively than any physical bonds. Dr. Michael Harrison led the captured Zaxkrill through the darkened halls of Earth's Natural History Museum after hours, their footsteps echoing in the empty space. "You think this is humiliation," Michael said, noting the alien's rigid posture. "Showing a hunter your prey's history. But that's where you're wrong. This isn't a record of prey. It's the archive of the ultimate predator." They stopped before a massive display of ancient hominid skeletons. "Look at these closely," Michael instructed. "What do you see?" Varrock's multiple eyes studied the bones. Weak. No claws. No natural weapons. Prey structure. Michael smiled. And yet, these beings hunted everything from mammoth to cave bears. Not with strength, but with this. He tapped his temple. The most dangerous weapon evolution ever created, the human mind. They moved through the exhibition, past dioramas of early human hunters. "We were never the strongest or the fastest," Michael explained. "But we were the smartest. We studied every predator we encountered, not just to survive them, but to learn from them." Varrock's mandibles clicked in disbelief. Prey cannot learn predator ways. Can't they? Michael stopped at a display showing ancient cave art. "These paintings are over 30,000 years old. They don't just show animals. They show understanding. How they moved, how they hunted, their weaknesses. We didn't just observe predators, we analyzed them." The next display showed early human weapons. "Look at this spear," Michael pointed. "The angle matches a lion's canine. This bow draws like a snake strike. We didn't just copy nature's weapons, we improved them." They passed through a section on pack hunting. "Wolves taught us coordination. Lions taught us ambush tactics. Eagles taught us to strike from above. Every predator on Earth became our unwitting teacher." Varrock's posture had changed, his earlier disdain giving way to uneasy comprehension. "Your ships, they move like hunting packs. Now you're beginning to understand." Michael nodded. "The same way we studied natural weapons to make better tools, we studied hunting patterns to make better strategies. Your fleet movements, we recognized them instantly. They're the same formations lions use on the savannah." They reached a modern display, showing humanity's current understanding of predator psychology. "This is why you're losing the war," Michael said quietly. "You fight like Earth's ancient predators, but we've had millions of years to study those tactics. Every strike you make, every formation you use, every hunting pattern you follow. We've seen it all before." Varrock stared at the display, his alien features showing the first signs of fear. "Your species, you are not prey that learned to fight." "No," Michael agreed. "We're predators who learned to think. Every animal that ever hunted us taught us something new. The ones that survived became our companions." He gestured to a display of modern dogs and cats. "The others." They stopped at the final exhibition, a massive collection of extinct predator specimens. "These are the ones who never adapted," Michael explained. "The ones who couldn't accept that their prey had become something more." "Sound familiar?" Varrock's voice was barely a whisper. "Why show me this?" "Because you need to understand what you're really fighting," Michael replied. "You're not facing soft, tool-using prey. You're facing the species that studied every predator Earth ever produced, learned their strengths, improved upon their weaknesses, and became something new. We're the apex predator that evolution never saw coming." As they left the museum, Varrock looked back at the towering building. "Your history, it's not a record of survival." "No," Michael agreed. "It's a record of evolution. Every predator that ever hunted us made us stronger. Your species is just the latest teacher in a very, very long line. Admiral Laura Martinez watched the holographic display of the Zack Skrull homeworld from the bridge of the U.S. Apex. The planet's triple suns cast multiple shadows across its surface, creating a perpetual dance of light and dark that had shaped the evolution of its predatory species. All task forces report ready, Captain David Chen announced. Operation Natural Selection is go. Laura nodded, her eyes never leaving the display. Send the message we discussed. Let's see if they've learned anything from their defeats. The message was simple, broadcast in the Zack Skrull language. You called us prey. We offered peace. Now learn why Earth's predators went extinct. The response was immediate. Thousands of Zack Skrull ships rising from the planet's surface, like disturbed hornets. Their formations were different now, less rigid, showing they'd tried to adapt. But it was too late. They're still fighting like individual predators, Laura observed. Begin Phase 1. Show them how wolf packs really hunt. The human fleet split into smaller groups, each one moving with practiced coordination. Dr. Mitchell's research had been crucial here. Every squadron's tactics were based on wolf pack hunting strategies, refined through centuries of study and enhanced by modern technology. Multiple enemy formations approaching, Chen reported. They're trying to isolate our groups. Laura smiled. Just like we planned. Signal the hidden forces. From the dark side of the planet's largest moon, additional human ships emerged. They'd been waiting there for days, like lions in the grass. As the Zack Skrull forces committed to their attack, the hidden ships struck their exposed flanks. Phase 2, Laura commanded. Time for the pack to become a swarm. Each human capital ship released clouds of combat drones. Unlike previous engagements, these drones were networked together using algorithms based on army ant swarm behavior. They flowed through space like living rivers of metal, overwhelming the Zack Skrull point defenses through sheer numbers and coordinated movement. Enemy fleet showing signs of disarray, Chen updated. They're breaking into smaller groups. They're reverting to individual predator responses, Laura noted. Execute Phase 3. Show them what real coordinated hunting looks like. The human fleet's formation shifted again, this time mimicking the hunting patterns of killer whales. Individual ships herded enemy vessels into killing zones, while others struck from below and above. It was a dance of death, choreographed by millions of years of predatory evolution. A desperate message came from the Zack Skrull command. You cannot fight like this. No natural hunters move this way. That's where you're wrong, Laura replied. We study all of nature's hunters, not just the ones that failed. Signal Final Phase. The U.S. Nightshade, now joined by an entire class of psychological warfare ships, began their broadcast. The combined sound of every Earth predator's hunting call, perfectly tuned to Zack Skrull psychology, filled space. The enemy fleet's cohesion shattered completely. They're retreating to the surface, Chen reported, falling back to defend their major cities. Laura stood, her expression solemn. Send in the ground forces. Let's show them how Earth's first hunters finished their prey. Human dropships descended through the atmosphere, their tactics based on peregrine falcon attack dives. Ground forces moved like coordinated packs, using every hunting strategy Earth had ever produced. The Zack Skrull, fighting as individual predators, never stood a chance against an enemy that combined every successful hunting technique in Earth's history. The surrender came just before local sunset. The Zack Skrull Supreme Hunter himself appeared on the command channel, his pride finally broken. We submit to the true apex predators. The hunt is yours. Laura's response was measured. The hunt was ours from the beginning. You simply never understood what you were fighting. We're not just another species that learned to fight back. We're the species that made hunting into an art form, that studied every predator's strength and improved upon it. Your mistake was thinking that natural weapons make a superior hunter. We proved what Earth's history already knew. The ultimate predator is the one that never stops learning, never stops adapting, and never, ever underestimates its prey. 20 years after the surrender of the Zaxkril Empire, young Kaztil sat in the Joint Species Academy's Natural History class, their multiple eyes fixed on the holographic display. The instructor, former Commander Varrock, now Professor of Evolutionary Studies, stood before the mixed class of human and Zaxkril students. Today, Varrock announced, his voice carrying the weight of personal experience, "We study the most important battle in our species' history. The day we learned we weren't the apex predators we thought we were." The display showed footage from the final battle, human ships moving in patterns that still fascinated young Zaxkril students. Kaztil raised a limb. "Professor, why did we lose? Our natural weapons were superior. Our hunting instincts were stronger." Varrock clicked his mandibles in what the students now recognized as a thoughtful gesture, a habit he'd picked up from his human colleagues. "Tell me, young one, what do you see in this footage?" "The human ships," Kaztil responded. "They move like the predators in our ancient seas, but also like the pack hunters of their world, and sometimes like the swarm creatures we fear." "Exactly," Varrock nodded. "But look closer. What do you see in their formations that ours lacked?" A human student, Maria Chen, spoke up. "They're combining different hunting styles. Each tactic flows into the next, adapting to the situation." "Precisely." Varrock moved to the center of the room. "What our species failed to understand was that humans didn't just study predators to survive them. They studied them to become something more. Maria, tell us about your ancestors." Maria stood proudly. "My great-grandmother was Dr. Amanda Mitchell. She was the first to recognize the Zaxkril hunting patterns because she'd spent her life studying Earth's predators." Varrock's eyes gleamed. "Yes, and what did she discover about us?" "That the Zaxkril Empire, for all its power, was fighting like Earth's ancient predators. But humans had spent millions of years learning from those same predators, understanding them, and improving upon their techniques." Kaztil's mandibles quivered with curiosity. "But Professor, if humans were so superior, why didn't they wipe us out like they did their world's other predators?" The room fell silent. Varrock moved to the window, looking out at the Academy's grounds where human and Zaxkril students trained together. "Because that's the final lesson humanity taught us. The true mark of an apex predator isn't its ability to kill. It's its ability to choose not to." He turned back to the class. "Humans could have destroyed our species. Instead, they offered us something no natural predator had ever considered: the chance to learn and evolve. They showed us that the ultimate adaptation isn't sharper claws or stronger armor, but the wisdom to know when to stop fighting and start learning." Maria nodded. "My great-grandmother used to say that humanity's greatest strength wasn't that we studied predators. It was that we studied everything, even our enemies, even ourselves. And that," Varrock concluded, "is why the galaxy now knows us as the species that learned the true meaning of being apex predators. Not through dominance alone, but through understanding, adaptation, and the wisdom to know that sometimes the greatest victory is teaching rather than destroying." As the class ended, Kaztil lingered, watching human and Zaxkril students leave together. On the wall, a quote from Admiral Martinez hung in both languages. "We didn't just wipe out the apex predators of our world, we learned from them, surpassed them, and became something they could never imagine. Predators who could choose to be teachers instead." Varrock touched the quote gently. 20 years ago, he would have seen such sentiment as weakness. Now he understood. It was the ultimate expression of true strength. The kind of strength that could only come from a species that had not just survived Earth's great predators, but had learned to transform their legacy into something greater.